Hi everyone, it's Carol here at Oak House Journals. Thanks so much for joining me this afternoon. I'm going to alter guest check number 48 today, and this is part of the 50 stack challenge, which is being hosted by Amy, or Crafty Cat as she's known here on YouTube. And there is a link in the description box down below providing you with all the information about this challenge. But I know Amy is also hosting a second 50 stack challenge, and that one's just started. This one is just about to finish. As I said, we're on guest check 48 and there are only 50 in this challenge, so only 2 more to go. Okay, so the prompt that was set for number 48 was a bird, and I was looking in amongst my stash and I came across this sticker. And as you can see, I've already cut one out. So I thought I would use it. This is an old envelope that I've had in my stash. And I was thinking that I would use this back portion because it's gorgeous cardstock. But actually, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, well, that actually hits the prompt perfectly. I don't need to do any more, and why waste this portion? So I did start to have a bit of a play before I switched on the camera to see if the idea that came to mind would actually work with the amount of cardstock that I've got here. Now, if I put this against my guest check, or the guest check against the envelope, I should say, you can see that it's slightly wider and slightly and quite a bit taller, and I think I've got plenty to work with there. So as I say, I had a bit of a play before we started, and what I did, if I take these paper clips away, I put them on so that you could see that this was an envelope. I cut away this portion here, and if I flip it over, that's what it looks like. And this portion is big enough to fit on the front of my guest check and to wrap around the back a little bit. And don't worry about these bits. These were actually wrapped around the back of the envelope and met here where the wax seal is. So I can use this portion on my guest check. So I'm thinking that I will glue that on there like that. So this is a bit of a hinge for me, and it will close like that. I've chopped off this top portion here. Sorry if I put that back. This bit was the top portion and this bit was the flap, and that bit I can have on there. Obviously all of this needs trimming down to size, so I'm thinking that I can have that on there like that and trim this down, this portion here, trim it down and have it as a hinge as well. Then I was thinking that I would make use of this back portion. Now I have enough here to make another flap, and I have enough left here to be able to have a flap on this side. I'm going to replicate that angle down at the bottom here. I don't really like the front. I do have this owl that I was going to use, so I may well just try, if I tuck this under, I may well just try, and I think I can, tucking that under the seal, and yes I can, look at that, and gluing that on the front because I like this owl better than that one. Mind you, there's not a lot in it really at the end of the day, but I may well do that, so I'm keeping that to one side. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to trim down this hinge here. All I need is about 1 centimetre. That gives me a smaller hinge for gluing onto my guest check. I'm going to trim this hinge on this piece to the same size as this one. Now I know this piece is much too wide for my guest check, so I'm just going to mark up where my guest check meets this, and then I'm just going to cut it away. So very carefully, and this is where everything could come astray, is I need to be able to peel these 2 pieces away. Okay, so I've peeled away enough, but I don't want to peel away too much because I want this to fit on here, but to give me enough for my bottom flap. So I know that if I do that to there, like that, and cut it across, that will give me a big enough piece at the bottom. Let me put that knife away. And now I have this piece which can go in here, and I want to replicate this angle up here. So I'm thinking that if I put this piece on here, like so, and draw around it, it should give me the same angle. Let me see if I can get that washi off there. Might come off without making a mark. Oh, wonderful. So I'm just going to save that piece because it will come in handy. Okay, so I have this portion for here. I'm thinking that I will need a hinge on this one. So I need to score this one at 1.5 centimetres. Doing this the lazy way, I should get my scoreboard out, but I'm not going to. This bit, which is the bit that was at the bottom, at the back of the envelope, I'm going to take off this washi, and hopefully it will come off as easily as the other piece. And again, I'm going to save that piece and also this piece. This piece doesn't want to come off cleanly. I'll give it another try, see if I can get it to come off. Oh, yep, it does want to come off, so I'm saving that piece as well. There was a little bit of loose card here, so I'm just going to glue that because I want that to be relatively secure. And as you can see, there's the bottom. If I hold it up to the camera, perhaps you can see there's a bottom flap there. So this is going to be my flap for down here. So I want a piece the same size as that. And I'm going in slightly because, as you can see, it's coming away there. It isn't on that side, but it is coming away on this side. So what I want to do is get a piece that is relatively secure. So I'm going to go with this piece here, and I'm going to make use of the fold that I've already got on this piece. So let me just draw around this. And there we go, I have another hinge. And it's all secure. So what I need to do is round these corners. So I've got my corner rounder here, and I'm going to use the 1/4 inch. When everything is in place, there's this flap going across there, this one going across there, and it will open up like that, and these flaps will also open up. So as you can see, I've got some tape marks here. I have this portion, so I can back that piece if I want to, which I think I do, but I'm going to back the whole of the inside of this piece. I want this one to be different from the others. The others are just flaps. This one is going to be a triple pocket, or certainly a double pocket, if not a triple. And I'm just wondering if I've got enough of that so that when it opens, it looks the same as the others, or if I need to use something else. I think I will use it that way round. That will give me just about enough. No, maybe not. Okay, I don't think that will work. I don't think I've got enough depth there for this before it starts hitting the tape here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and have a look in my stash to see what I can find in the way of backing paper for this now. I've got this single sheet of olive green cardstock, so I'm going to be using this. It's not a heavyweight cardstock, it's about 100 and I would say about 120, maybe 140 grams, so it's quite lightweight, but I think it will go quite nicely with this. And I've just, as I say, got one single sheet, and I think I've got enough to back all my pieces here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away now and I'm going to put all my pieces on here, and I'm going to trace around them and cut them out so that I have all my backing pieces for all the pieces here on the guest check. Here are all my pieces backed with the green cardboard, as you can see. And I've put a piece on the front of the guest check. So the next job is to glue these pieces in place. I have gone slightly larger than the actual front piece here and taken my cardboard over onto the hinge so that you can't see the blue when it's actually folded. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue the green card in place. On the guest check, I'm going to leave it for the time being because there's things I want to do on that. But the top and bottom flaps, I'm going to glue those completely and make the score line where the hinge should be on each of those. On this front portion here, I'm just going to glue along this edge here, down where the fold line is, and along here so that I can have a tuck spot in there. All my pieces are glued in place now, and I've reinforced the fold where the main piece hits the hinge on all of them. So that one's done, and as you can see I've done the thumb notch as well. So that's my little pocket there. And these are suitably backed as well, and I'm going to run a line of stitching all the way around the main pieces, not round the hinges, just the main pieces. So that's what I'm going to do with those three. And on this piece, which is the piece that I've got covering the guest check at the moment, I'm just going to run a single line of stitching, or maybe two if the mood takes me when I get going, just around the outside edge of this. And this piece I'm just going to leave to one side for the moment. I will be stitching this piece, but not just yet. So there we go, everybody, that's my pieces all stitched. That will go on there like that. And this piece will go tuck under there like that, down there. This piece will go under there like that. So I've got a flap top and bottom there, and then this one will also similarly tuck underneath like that. I need now to concentrate on this portion here. As you saw, I've just done some measurements on the inside of this piece, because what I'd like to do is to cut a couple of apertures in this part of the flap. And all I've done is I've measured 1.5 centimetres all the way round to give myself a border. So I'm going to cut out these two portions now. Here I'm just marking where I want my thumb notches to be on the green. I found a scrap piece of vellum, and I'm going to glue that inside here and then trim away the excess. I'm going to glue this back portion onto here, but not completely. I'm just going to glue round this bottom edge here and up the side here and up the side there. This is all stitched round now, and I have two little pockets like that, and I just used a little scrap of this, punched another half circle with my circle punch and just slotted it in behind the thumb notches so that I didn't see the blue and white dotted background that's on here. Obviously I've got my hinge here, and I've just been gently encouraging that fold again. All these pieces are now glued and dried, and they're all ready to glue into place behind this background piece here that I'm going to put onto the guest check. But before I do that, I want to create something inside. So I've lifted out some papers here. This is just a sample piece which I thought I might use because of the shades of green. I've got just a strip here from a book, and I like that, so that's why I've saved that. I've got this lovely little card on handmade paper, and I've got some pieces here of handmade paper. So what I thought I would do is create a little booklet inside. So all I'm going to do is just trim this to size. So I want something round about there, and probably something round about there. So let's just trim this to size. I was thinking I might have this across the top and just tear it away. Yeah, I'm liking how that's looking. Not liking this straight edge up here, so I'm going to just tear across the top. And I wanted a piece of this on here. This is a wax seal on there, as you can see, but I don't want this on my piece. There's my little notebook created for inside, and as you can see, I've just put a line or a couple of lines of messy stitching along the top there. I'm just going to smooth that down. I've gone with cream rather than green so that it blends in and almost goes to the background on this paper here. I don't want it to be too noticeable. I've got a tiny little bird stamp to try and hit the prompt some more, and sorry, I've got some, turn this round, I've got little tiny archival ink here in fern green. So I'm just going to ink up this stamp. Like that. There we go. So that's going inside. If I bring in my other pieces, the last thing I've got to do is sort out my threads, because I need some sort of closure down this edge of, if I put that on there, down this edge of the guest check, and because of the layers that I'm introducing, that's definitely going to be needed. So what I was thinking, I've got this length of thread here, and now I need to make the decision whether to keep that owl there or replace it with this one, because this was a pre-made coin envelope. The only thing that I've done to hit the prompt is that, and I suppose if I put that on there, then I am actually physically doing something to hit the prompt. I like this one better, not because of the look of the thing, but it stands out more and it's bigger. This one, because it's got more browns, golden browns on it, it's blending too much into that background. So yes, it's a lot more subtle, but I think this one actually works better. I am really tempted to put that on the top there, and I know that I would like the end result much better, but I need to actually physically make something, don't I, to hit the prompt. And I was thinking that I could make a journaling card or something like that to go in the pocket here and make use of this owl. So I'm going to park this for the time being, and I'm going to work on the closure. I'm going to chop these off here, and I'm going to glue them to the hinge here, and then use these pieces on the other side to make a tie with this piece. That I might be better just putting a piece of double-sided tape rather than trying to glue them. So that's what I'm going to do. I've just snipped off a small portion of double-sided tape. So I'm just going to put that on there, give that a good old burnish, and arrange my threads on top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue all the hinges. That's my pieces all glued onto the back of the background piece here, and that's what it looks like inside. So this piece at the bottom here will fold up, that folds down. I have my two little pockets there, and then this folds across. So this is all ready to glue to my guest check and also to make my closure. But before I do that, do you remember the little pieces of washi tape that I put off to one side? Well, I'm going to put a few pieces on. If I shut this down, as you can see, there's some pieces on here, and I'm going to put some pieces along this piece at the bottom. Before I glue this onto my guest check, I just need to make my closure. So the threads that I had spare, there were 6 of them. I've just pulled out 3 that I'm going to use. And again, I've got a piece of double-sided tape. I'm just going to put that on the reverse, like that. Take off the backing. And then these 3 pieces of thread, I'm just going to lie across like that. Give them a good press down. And now I'm going to glue this portion to my guest check. I've just put a knot in the end of these 2 threads here, and similarly with these ones here. And as you can see, it's glued between the guest check and the green layer under here. So I'm thinking that will go like that. That will cross over, and then this will just tie like that. So I'm going to pop this to one side now, because what I'd like to do is make a journaling card for inside the pocket. So I've lifted out some papers here. I've got a tin here of some little labels, so I'll probably use one of these. And just looking straight away, that one's appealing because of the greens and the browns. Okay. Possibly that one. Maybe that one, not so sure about that one. Oh, there's a green one there. So I've got a little selection there. If not, I've got oodles in here that I can come back to and have a look at. Got a little one like that, which might be interesting. So I'm going to pop those to one side, but as you can see here, this is the remnants of the thread that I had left over, because this was 6-stranded, so I used 3 for there, and I've got 3 here, so I'm going to pop that to one side. This is the owl that I'm going to use. I've lifted out this division study sheet, and I thought I might use that. I will need to trim it down, so I'm probably going to take away those last row of numbers. So I've got those. I have this piece left over from the cover, so it might be nice to incorporate that onto the journaling card so that it matches and blends in. So I've got that. I've got a little portion of this left, which is going to tie in nicely, I'm thinking, with the owl, if I just have it peeping behind. So I'm definitely going to be using that. This is the edge that I tore off, so I might use that. Similarly, that was the bottom, and that was the other side with the C on. Not sure I'll use that though. In fact, I won't, so I'm going to pop it to one side. I've got some paper here that was the cover of some stickers. I've got some brown paper here with a bit of a stamp on, a bit of ledger paper, brown paper. I think this is handmade paper by the feel of it. Computer card, again, some more stamped brown paper, and then this fern paper. So I've got lots of options there that I can use. So the first thing I need to do obviously is trim my card to size. I finished collaging this, added a few labels, top and bottom, a little one here, and I've done a little bit of decoration on the back, and I've also gone all the way round on my sewing machine just with a single stitch of straight machine stitching in cream. I'm going to put an eyelet in here now, and I'm going with an antique bronze colour because I think that's going to match better, and I am going to put a little washer behind. Let me grab one out of my pot here, like that. Just to find the right setter. There we go, that's the one. There we go. and I'm just going to use these few little threads to finish it off. And that's my finished piece, everybody. Sorry, I've got feathers everywhere. I did think that I would put the tippermost part of a peacock's feather in here, but with it being vellum, I wasn't really getting any benefit of doing that, so I've aborted that idea, but there's bits of feather all over here. So there's my little journaling card to go in this pocket here, like that. My threads peeking out the side. I've got this little journaling card here that I'm just going to put inside there like that, and I've got a few stamps here, so I thought I would just grab a few and pop them in the pocket. And I'm trying to pick ones here that've got kind of like a yellowy tone to them, so those will do, just a few to add some interest in my pocket. Like that. And then this, actually I'll pull that up a little bit more, I think. Then that folds down like that, that folds across, this folds that way, and then it just ties shut. It's not a very good closure, so please bear with me, but it does enough. So there we go, everybody. That's my finished or altered guest check for prompt number 48. So let me just write on the back, hashtag 48 bird. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together. Nothing very special, just a repurposed envelope or coin envelope. I'm pretty pleased how it's come out, and whilst I haven't altered the front, I have hit the prompt by making the journaling card and doing a little bit of stamping. And as always, there will be pictures at the end for you to have a closer look if you're interested. And we only have 2 more left, 49 and 50, next week. So I hope you'll join me so that I can show you my efforts for those last 2 remaining guest checks. And then yay, I finished the challenge. As I've mentioned so many times before, when I started this challenge, I was going to dip in and out because I didn't think I'd have time to do the whole of the challenge, a whole 50 stack of pack or whatever of guest checks. But I got hooked. Amy hooked me well and truly, and I've had such fun playing along. But anyway, enough of that. Enjoy the photographs, everybody, and I do hope you all join me for next week's 2 remaining guest checks. Until then, take care. Bye bye now.